This video is going to walk through various aspects of how the Forum Systems technology addresses various aspects of the CDM Phase 2 functional areas, specifically functional area 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Forum Systems is the provider of the Forum Sentry API Security Gateway. Forum Sentry's gateway is the only FIPS 140-2 and NDPP certified secure API gateway on the market. This is a product technology that's been out in the market since 2002, never compromised, and has exemplary qualifications. It has no OpenSSL or C-based libraries, and it has various global and enterprise deployments worldwide, including a flagship deployment at the Internal Revenue Service within the United States, whereby Forum Sentry API Gateway processes, authenticates, and secures all electronic tax filings, both business and personal. Today we're going to showcase how the API Security Gateway technology fits into the CDM Phase 2 initiatives and how it can address various aspects of the requirements set forth by CDM Phase 2. One of the key aspects of the API Security Gateway technology is that it fills a void left by many other technology components in the network. It provides a centralized means by which to enable an identity access control and single sign-on, and ultimately provide RBAC, role-based access control, CBAC, content-based access control, SSO, single sign-on, session management, along the same time providing visibility, monitoring, and seamless capability to uniformly secure and enable data communications, but also provide centralized ways to secure, provide collaboration of data information, and ultimately consolidate a lot of infrastructure and information to centrally access and collaborate and provide more context to the information flow. CDM in and of itself, Continuous Diagnostics and Mitigation, is comprised of the means by which to gather diagnostics, which is what mitigation, of course, requires that we first have some diagnostics. But diagnostics, requires that we obtain some information. Information needs context in order to understand that information. Context needs correlation to know how that information applies to various things. But the challenge that we have and are faced with in CDM Phase 2 is the privacy consideration. And that privacy consideration is really what fundamentally we focus on from API Gateway technology. Through secure collaboration via API Gateway technology, we can unify various different disparate aspects of information and tools to centrally enable collaboration and information exchange to ultimately get to the point of continuous diagnostics and mitigation. One of the key aspects of what the Secure API Gateway enables through secure collaboration is the data security of the model of the API Gateway technology itself. FIPS certified, NIAP NDPP certified, U.S. Department of Defense certified, HSM technology with hardened PKI security, cryptographic acceleration with regard to processing X509 and PIV card authentication, gives scalability and all the other aspects that go into the necessity for enterprise class speeds through secure collaboration that can do so at the speed of the information flow itself in ways that ensure the security model is always maintained and intact. Focusing on the Phase 2 general requirements, if we look at what the general requirements are, these are as stated within the Phase 2 RFI that requires all tool areas 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to have some baseline capabilities or requirements, I should say. The first one is the ability to reporting relevant objects by category. When such data has been entered manually or detected by the system, relevant objects may be devices, software products, people's roles, accounts, credentials, clearances. All of that reporting is provided by Forum Sentry's API Gateway technology functionality, whereby it enables and exposes the ability to report via file, database, syslog, and many other systems of logging and APIs through the consolidation of contextual information obtained through device information, people, roles, accounts, credentials, can all be consolidated and extracted and reported upon using the API Gateway capability. The second general requirement is interoperate. This is the ability to share data with other components like discovery tools, dashboards, things like IDM systems, Active Directory, LDAP. This is a foundation of API Security Gateway technology, the necessity to enable various client-side and server-side communication infrastructure to share and interoperate with each other. That is the foundation principle behind what a gateway technology in fact does. And so that is a fundamental aspect of sharing data by various different protocols, data formats, data structures, where the interoperability necessity called out by CDM Phase 2 can be more easily facilitated by using gateway technology to couple all of these pieces together. The third such general requirement is called scale. That the fact of the matter of all the data gathering and all the other things, it must be done at the speed of network information flow with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of devices to enable that these phase requirement tools and the data gathering to be able to be consolidated and shared and collaborated in real time to be most effective. So scalability is a critical aspect. The API Gateway technology has patented scalability, designed from the ground up for enterprise class data flow, data security, high volume, low latency transactions. This has been proven over and over in industry deployments, as mentioned earlier in the Internal Revenue Service as one example. Other examples include credit card transactions, banking transactions, and many other real-time necessities type of information flow where the scale is very important. And the fourth is securing collected data. The data must be adequately encrypted while in motion and while at rest. This is the foundation of an API security gateway to enable and accelerate the data privacy characteristic of the protocol, which is the means to shuffle information back and forth, but actually also for the data itself. So content-based data encryption and protocol-based data encryption. And this fundamentally gives then the requirement for any of the tools to feed into the API gateway layer where it can provide all of the heavy lifting around the encryption and shuffling of information in a highly scalable, highly secure model, and fundamentally centralized with product technology that's been FIPS and NDPP certified. So those general requirements then fold into the functional areas in which we want to focus on delivering specific functionality around the CDM Phase 2 initiatives. The first of which being Tool Functional Area 5, Managed Network Access Controls. As identified here and as called out in the CDM document for Phase 2, the overall purpose of the Network Boundary Tool Functional Area is to reduce the probability of the loss of confidentiality and integrity and availability of data resulting from inappropriate IP traffic through the boundary. Well, this is fundamentally what a gateway does. A gateway is the gatekeeper for information flow, but but designed by intent to do so with the ability to inspect information and look at data in a way that's far more contextual in nature than traditional IP network infrastructure and security and identity infrastructure, where Forum Sentry takes this to the next level and combines the role-based access control with the content-based access control for very highly secure and capable and complex boundary protection for data information flows. Tool Functional Area 6, Managed Trust and People Granted Access. The overall purpose of this trust management tool area is to reduce the probability of loss in confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data due to access of untrustworthy individuals who conduct insider attacks against the organization. Now, this goes across various aspects, of course, of physical-based access, but there are also the concept here of looking at also electronic transmission of information and access of information, where within a Forum Sentry API Gateway is identity technology that seamlessly inspects data information flow with regard to the user and credentials affiliated with that, such that only those individuals that are able to access sensitive information or various types of information can access that information and are allowed to. And furthermore, enforcing those roles and privileges of those individuals in a manner that can better identify when untrusty individuals are intending to access things they are not supposed to. The Tool Functional Area 7, Manage Security-Related Behavior. The overall purpose of this particular function area is to reduce the probability of the loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability due to the access by individuals whose conduct causes unintentional insider attacks on the organization. Now, this one is interesting in that there are a lot of different aspects of how this particular area can be focused on. Obviously, again, from the physical accessibility. When you're talking about IT-based resource accesses, this comes down to ensuring a role-based identification of individuals and heuristics and auditing of historical trends and data analytics that provide for a more contextual way of looking at and seeing behavioral anomalies, such that the unintentional insider attacks can be identified based on information flow coming in or out of information boundaries. Additionally, multiple factor authentication controls can also limit the exposure of individuals being careless with credentials or other type things, where introducing security-related behaviors such as two-factor authentication can limit exposure of individuals that get compromised within the organization. Tool Functional Area 8, Manage Credentials and Authentication. The overall purpose of this area is to reduce the probability of loss of confidentiality and availability of data due to the provision of credentials of people who do not need them to perform their work, that are not bound appropriate to the person they are issued to, and that are not used to correctly authenticate the user to an account. This again comes back to the ability to do multi-factor credential validation, PIV card authentication, which ties many different aspects of user information to an individual, PKI authentication, and tying that to the roles and of the content of the information that individuals and people are meant to be accessing, and what kinds of information they're meant to be accessing. This is where the context of coupling the roles and the content of information flow in terms of what an API gateway provides is unique in the ability to become much more versatile and agile about identifying people's trends as well as their information accesses and retrievals in a way that can more properly contextualize what's actually going on the network and on the in the IT area. And then Tool Functional Area 9, Manage Account privileged access. The overall purpose of this functional area is to reduce the probability loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability due to the provision of excess access, including physical access, to people who do not need such access to perform their work. Well, access is often done through a PIV card, authentication, a smart card swipe for data access. All of that is within the realm of Sentry to authenticate and track again through heuristics and behavior patterns, and have SLA enforcements around various times of day where information or physical PIV card accessibility can gain access to different either physical areas or logical through portals or other services on the network, where that is all within a rule framework that can be built in the gateway to identify, track, and enforce those kinds of accesses to the people that are performing them. So this is a key aspect of what the API Gateway technology can provide for, to really showcase what the ultimate goal of CDM is, which is to unify a lot of the disparate technology and tools that exist out there in the various agencies, where reporting, interoperability, scalability, and securing that collected data across all of the various ways in which data can be obtained, and effectively unify then the ability of those tools and to gather that information and centrally enable the various aspects of the reporting, interoperability, scalability, and data security in a unified layer, again, a FIPS and NDPP certified layer of technology that can consolidate and unify and provide conformant, secure, agile approach to CDM information sharing and information collaboration. The collaborative ecosystem is ultimately a key aspect of CDM. To try to take and obtain various different data feeds and information heuristics from all of the different infrastructure that is out there, and basically build into what we call logical enclaves of information, where ultimately what we would like to do is correlate that information across enclaves. But of course, the challenge there is privacy and access control and data integrity assurance. So we use the Sentry API Security Gateway to facilitate building enclaves, secure ecosystems for that data mediation and consolidation, where it can again abstract away the heavy lifting of the data security, the scalability, the encryption, the corollaries of different data information, to unify that in a way that can be shared centrally in secure means with regard to enclave collaboration within CDM initiatives and within agencies. And that really showcases just a small part of how the API Security Gateway from Forum Systems can achieve many advantages to the implementation and ultimate end goal of what CDM Phase 2 is meant to provide. We encourage you to please visit our website at www.forumsys.com or contact directly our CDM solution lead, Randy Gardner, at rgardner@forumsys.com. Thank you.